Greetings students. Today we will discuss about respiration in plants. In class 9, your syllabus has the scope of discussing it just as an outline. We'll not go deeper into it. We'll talk about the outline of the respiration and how the gaseous exchange takes place, and a few experiments that will help us understand that which factors in which way affect the rate of transpiration. Okay, so let us begin. We need energy for every work, every activity we need to do, to walk, to eat, to talk. Even when you are looking at this video, you are spending some amount of energy. Similarly, plants also require energy for carrying out their body activities, their physiological activities. So there are two types of respiration through which they get that energy. One is aerobic, another is anaerobic. Now, the manner in which diffusion of respiratory gases occur, as well as a number of interesting experiments will be there that will demonstrate the respiration in plants in this chapter. Now, let us first learn about what is respiration. So, as I have already told you that we need energy for various activities. So, this energy, where do we get it from? We get it from the glucose that we intake as food. What happens is the glucose is broken down. The glucose is broken down by utilizing oxygen, and in that process energy is released. The equation that you can see here, the chemical reaction that you can see here, that is what respiration is. Now, let me tell you one thing. This is a simplified overall reaction of respiration. Respiration is not as simple or just a linear equation like this. Respiration takes place in a series of chemical steps. So, there are a few characteristics of respiration that we need to know before we go deeper into it. It is that, as I told you right now, that this breakdown of glucose, it takes place in a series of chemical steps. Now, there are two major phases in which these steps are divided. One is known as glycolysis, and the other is known as Krebs cycle. Now, a little bit about glycolysis. In glycolysis, glucose finally produces pyruvate. Now again, glucose in a single reaction does not produce pyruvate. It goes through a lot of chemical reactions to release pyruvate, and these reactions, they occur in the cytoplasm of the cell. Okay, in the cytoplasm of the cell. So now let us talk about Krebs cycle. So the pyruvate that we had got from glycolysis, that pyruvate is broken down into carbon dioxide, water and ATP. This again takes place through many steps, not in one single step. And all those steps together are known as Krebs cycle. The Krebs cycle occurs in mitochondria. Okay. Now, the second characteristics tells us that every step is due to a particular enzyme. And as we know that enzymes are substrate specific, So each reaction will be acted upon by one particular enzyme. The energy liberated when these glucose molecules are broken down is not all in the form of heat. Yes, some part of the energy is in the form of heat, but a large part is converted into chemical form, into chemical energy in the form of adenosine triphosphate or ATP. So then the question arises that the energy that is not converted into heat and has been converted into chemical energy, how do we utilize it when we need energy in our body? So what happens is, when this ATP needs to be used, it gets converted into ADP, adenosine diphosphate. And again, when more energy is available, by further breakdown of glucose, the ATP is reconverted to ATP. And so it goes on and on and on. Okay, so to get energy, ATP is converted to ADP, and that's when energy is released. Okay, so see this. This is a diagrammatic representation to show how energy is released during respiration. What happens is, ATP releases one phosphate molecule and gets converted into ADP. This process releases energy. Later on, this ADP takes up the phosphate and again gets converted into ATP. Some of the ATP also comes via the breaking down of glucose. Okay, and some of that energy gets converted into heat. Again, when more energy is needed, ATP will break down into a phosphate and ADP, releasing energy. So this cyclical process keeps going on and on to provide us with energy. So by definition, we can say that respiration is a catabolic process of releasing energy from simple sugar, that is in bracket glucose, for carrying out life processes. Okay, so you might ask, now when you are writing the answer, when you are writing definition, we have to keep in mind the keywords. So catabolic process, releasing energy from glucose, that is very important. These three words need to be there. Okay, these will act as the keywords. Now when I mentioned catabolic, this is kind of a new term for you. So what is it? All the metabolic processes in our body can be divided into two types: anabolic processes and catabolic processes. Now, anabolic processes are those processes which consume energy, and catabolic processes are those which release energy. Okay, so that's the difference between anabolic process and catabolic process. So let us quickly do a comparison between respiration and burning. Now sometimes, or in your junior classes, respiration might have been compared with burning, like burning of coal, because both liberate energy, both give the end products carbon dioxide, and both use oxygen. But this is not something, but these factors are not something by which we can say that respiration and burning are same. There are still a lot of differences. The differences are that burning or combustion occurs in one single step, one simple reaction, whereas respiration is not. As we have seen earlier, that it is a series of chemical steps. In burning, enzymes are not needed. It's just heat that is needed. But in respiration, enzymes are very important to take place. Burning is a physico-chemical process, whereas respiration is a biochemical process. In case of burning, all the energy that is liberated, it is liberated as heat and light. But in case of respiration, the energy is liberated in the form of heat and ATP, mostly ATP and some amount of heat. In respiration, no light energy is produced, otherwise we would all be glowing throughout the day. But in burning, light energy is produced. Respiration is a cellular process, burning is a non-cellular process. Also, respiration occurs at body temperature. Though it might be similar to burning in many ways, but it occurs at body temperature. But burning occurs at a very high temperature. Our body won't be able to sustain at that temperature. Okay, so this is the introduction to the chapter. Later, we'll learn about how the plant respires, what it does in aerobic respiration, what it does in anaerobic respiration, and a few experiments. So for today, we are leaving it till this much. One thing that I forgot to mention is that how many ATP molecules are released. So 1 mole of glucose on complete oxidation releases 38 molecules of ATP. Okay, that's it for today. See you the next day with the remaining half of the chapter. Thank you.